Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over a Calgary Market update as well as what has changed in the market, where are we headed for the rest of the year, what's going on, and so without further ado, let's jump into it. As you probably know by now, the Calgary real estate market has experienced significant growth since the beginning of this year. That is mainly due to the low inventory levels that we've experienced throughout the year, as well as low interest rates and out-of-town buyers and investors coming into the market and snatching up some cheaper real estate in relation to where they are coming from. So the biggest factor driving the price increase across not just Calgary but Canada has been the low inventory levels in the marketplaces. So simply there's just not enough homes for sale in relation to how many buyers are in the market looking to purchase a property. So as more homes continue to come on the market, as well as increasing interest rates, we are starting to see that Calgary is headed towards more of a balanced market. Doesn't mean it's crashing or anything like that. It just means it's slowing down as there is more inventory coming up and the interest rate increasing. So it's just driving a little bit of buyer demand out. Nothing to be too concerned about. If anything, if you're a buyer, this is a great time now because you're not super rushed and feeling like, oh, we're battling against 10 other offers. Maybe you got a couple, maybe there's none. So it's looking good. Balanced market is usually one of the best because everybody's winning and nobody's shedding any tears. But we are slowly headed towards that direction just as the inventories come up in the last month and the interest rates have begun to increase.
Yeah, so we saw the markets peak in March, and now as we're getting into our historically busier season, the spring and summer, sales are coming off a little bit from that, but it's like driving down the highway at 150 and then you see a cop ahead and you slow down to the speed limit. We're still doing well, it's just that we're not at that breakneck red line speed that we were earlier in the year.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers here. We got three charts just to look through with some important sales numbers. We won't bore you to death with everything, but let's jump into the computer and take a quick look at what's been going on in Calgary over the last month. So looking at 2022 inventory, this is comparing it to sales. Inventory obviously in green and sales in red. So we can see that in the month of May, we had about 3,000 sales, a little over 3,000 sales. This is across all product types, so townhomes, apartments, detached homes, everything. So at 3,000 sales with 5,200 units of inventory. This is the biggest gap that we've seen so far. When you look back to February, March, you can see that those were kind of the higher times. There's a way smaller gap between the amount of sales versus the amount of inventory, and that was what was generally driving the increased prices across Calgary. So there was so little inventory that people were paying more, willing to pay more to get a house that they wanted, and as a result now we actually have way more inventory than we have sales going on. And although you can see it dip from March and it looks scary and it's a low curve, in May we were still above the record high from last year. So still, just like Graham said, we're still going 100 on the highway, just not 150 anymore, which is a little bit better for everybody. Everybody has a little bit better chance at getting something, finding something, and it's not as crazy and redline as it was before.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, still, although these numbers are what they are, we're still in a seller's market based on the inventory levels. So if you are a seller, you don't have to worry that your prices are going to crash. And if you're a buyer, you're also not thinking, oh my gosh, this is fantastic, I'm going to get everything on discount.
Yeah. So moving on to benchmark price, you would think that if the sales are slowing and there's so much inventory that maybe the prices would be going. Not the case. So this is good, especially if you're a seller. Benchmark price has stayed around the same from last month and even March. Not seeing a massive gap. The biggest leap up was from January to February when it was kind of just being understood that we were in such a low inventory market and how much buyer demand there was. So you can see that this year in May, it's about 14.5% increase year over year compared to May 2021, where May 2021, $476,800 was your benchmark price across all property types in Calgary, and now it is $546,000. So big jump, which is good for price gains. Nothing crazy up in the 20s, 30% or anything like that, but still a healthy gain, and it does look like it will kind of stay the course now. We don't see it battling going back down. So
no, this is good. This is very sustainable levels, so which we all want, right? We don't want the wild peaks and valleys of prices and sales. So if we can maintain a nice steady appreciation, then that's good for everybody.
The next chart we want to look at is the average days on market. So it it was getting really, really low, especially when there was little inventory because people were coming in with unconditional offers, just wanting to get the house, skipping out on financing, home inspection, all that stuff. Now, as there is more inventory and slightly less buyers, we are seeing it return to a normal amount, still 25, which is what we were at for May 2022. It's still very, very short days on market for Calgary. Last year at this time we were at 32, so still down quite a bit. That's 13% increase versus April of this year as well. So we can see that the days on market is slowing, but nothing substantial. It's not like we're getting up into 55, 60 days. Still very, very quick at 25 days on market.
So one of the other contributing factors to sales beginning, I hate to say slow, but they're coming off the pace that they were earlier, is the interest rate. The Bank of Canada has increased the interest rate by 0.5% last week and are projecting another percentage increase in July. July 13th is the next announcement. And that's all to get this inflation under control. And the interesting thing is when we're looking at this is the overnight rate is at 1.5%. And we keep talking about how the interest rates have risen and risen. We're still below the overnight interest rate from the Bank of Canada pre-COVID. So before COVID, it was 1.75. We're at 1.5. There is talk that it's going to go up another half to another 0.75% next month. So it remains to be seen what kind of impact that will have. One of the other things we're seeing is some more headlines in the news about, prices are falling and sales are falling. If you peel that back, they're talking nationally. The national numbers don't really compute to Calgary because you're taking into consideration the white hot market that has been Toronto for the last 3-4 years, as well as BC. And we're just beginning to see those numbers improve here in Calgary the last year.
RBC has come out with their housing report as of yesterday, and they are expecting, although sales and prices may slow in other regions of Canada, Calgary, because of the affordability, will keep on trucking along. So
yeah, the affordability as well as the strength in the energy sector, and like you said, the affordability compared to the average prices in other major centers were still very, very affordable.
We're about half of some other places. So that's it. We won't continue to talk about the interest rate update. We're going to leave a link to the video right here by Nolan Mathias, who is a mortgage broker in Canada, and he can tell you a little bit more in depth about it because we are not mortgage specialists, so don't want to be leading anyone down the wrong path. But check out that video, really good. He goes in depth of what has happened and where he sees it going. So I'll leave a link to that down in the description, and you can go check it out. Got lots of good information in there.
Yeah, if you've got other specific questions regarding your mortgage, whether it's variable rate or fixed rate mortgage, like Nathaniel said, we're not experts, but we do work with experts. We've partnered with experts, whether it's brokers or with banks. If you need an introduction, reach out to us. We'd be happy to put you in touch with them, and they'd be able to speak to your specific situation as well.
Exactly. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you click that subscribe button because we want to see you come back here and learn and learn and learn, and then we can help you out as best as we can. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time.
All right, take care.
See ya.